This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and summer is here, and if you're planning your trip to Walt Disney World for the summer, perhaps the good travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that trip to Walt Disney World. I know going down in the summertime isn't the easiest thing, got to contend with high crowds, lots of heat, and lots of other issues, but the travel agencies at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you make that trip all the much easier. Why not give them a try? Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
Wednesday, July 1st, 2009, and this is episode 585 of WDW Today. I am Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Happy July.
Yay.
Woohoo.
And also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
She's kind of heavy, don't weigh a ton.
Country Bears.
Country Bear Jamboree, and happy birthday to my cousin Patty today. Woot!
And also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Len, happy Canada Day! I know Fred Hazelton somewhere is enjoying a drink today.
Really, someone please have a cold, frosty Canadian lager on me.
Yes.
So, Matt, I thought you were going to introduce me as the inspiration for Mr. Incredible, but whatever, your thing works good too.
No, you're the inspiration for Mrs. Incredible.
Nice.
Walked into that one, Len, huh?
Yeah, truly.
And also joining us on today's show is Annette Owens, the manager of customer relations and group services for Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome,
Really?
Annette.
The longest title ever, I know. Hey, maple syrup all around, Lynn.
Woo!
There you go. Woohoo.
That's right. Well, it's Wednesday, and we're answering your listener questions. Just because it's a holiday in Canada doesn't mean we don't answer questions for you. And we'll start out with a question from Mike of Voorhees, New Jersey. And the email writes, can you add to the wiki a page that describes Mouse World Radio's programming schedule for the various channels?
Oh, it's a great idea.
Sorry I couldn't find any other way to get in touch with Mike Newell. He will probably be out when you get to this question.
Oh, so I mean, I like the idea, but it's kind of a conflict, no?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a wiki, and you can add to it. I guess it's not.
Yeah, but the wiki's about the show. It's not merely about me. Or...
Well, if you do that, then I think Glenn should put the table of contents on the wiki too.
Yeah, I was going to say. Not like they
That'll
ever
fill the
mentioned.
whole page
Wait,
up.
so before we discuss this, please remember to buy an unofficial guide, ding, and to Twitter wait times to at touring plans on Twitter. I'm sorry, Mike, what were you saying about conflict of interest?
You can't use the bell. Newell gave me a restraining order. I can't use the bell.
Yeah.
Hey, I asked nicely.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't,
With threats.
Police banging down the door, you know.
But very quickly, Newell, the schedule for Mouse World Radio is Magic Kingdom at 9 a.m. on weekdays.
Well, the Magic Kingdom entrance at 8 a.m. Eastern.
8 a.m. Eastern. Okay.
Main Street at 9 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And then an evening at Epcot at 8:30. 8:30 on Eastern time.
Yeah.
That's just on Radio 1.
Janine was yelling at her iPod when you said all that.
She's always yelling.
So Mike, I got the new iPhone 3GS.
I heard it came out today.
A week ago on Friday. But I actually used it to drive to, not to drive to DC because it doesn't actually drive for me yet. But I listened to Mouse World Radio everywhere that I had 3G, every major metropolitan area that had 3G. I had Mouse World Radio. There was actually a stretch between Greensboro and Raleigh for about 45 minutes where I had continuous 3G coverage of Mouse World Radio too.
Nice. Very nice.
And so I was thinking too that the beautification of Americans' highways really should start with more AT&T cell phone towers.
Yeah, the kind that are hidden like trees.
Yeah, and more importantly, have 3G. It could be like a Soviet prison for all I care, as long as the reception's good. I mean,
Next email is
speaking of Soviet prisons. Go ahead, man.
Next email is for someone who didn't leave their name. Don't forget name and where you're from in your email. So it writes, I'm planning a trip to the world in July because we want to bake and soak at the same time. I'm bringing my mom and we'll need to rent an ECV. Do you have any companies you can recommend for renting an ECV from?
Oh, we covered this in the Touring Plans blog. Larry Heidenberg did an article for us, a mobility article on the blog, and he updated the post with some company names. Check that.
Okay, we'll put a link in that to the show notes.
Definitely, please.
And by we, I mean Philip will do that.
Philip Jeeves, your man.
That's right. Next email is from Mike from New York, who writes, "Hey gang, I have a quick question for you, and I hope you have some good advice for me. In August, my whole family, including my girlfriend and I, will be heading down to the world, making this my twins' nephew's first trip. I'm planning to propose to my girlfriend of almost 2 years during Wishes in the Magic Kingdom. It's my girlfriend's favorite show and favorite park, and I couldn't think of a better place to do it since I know she'll just melt. What I'm wondering from all of you is if there's anything I can tell Disney that will make our night more memorable, like something special that they can do during the proposal. I plan to do it during the fireworks, so of course we will be surrounded by everyone in the park, including my family. But is there anything that Disney can do for me if I let them know it's going to happen? I would love to have them do something special, but I don't know if they would if I asked. Have you heard of them doing anything for anyone before? Thanks so much for your input. Keep up the great work."
I'm sure they could project their images on the castle during Wishes.
Yeah, for only a few $1 million.
Price is Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annette, any suggestions?
Well, they've got the dessert party going on over there. So, if you pull over to the side and do that, you're going to have a little more space. You're going to have a little bit of...
Won't you know something's up if he does a dessert party?
No.
Well, they're
it's
doing
open
the
to
dessert
everybody.
party with 100 other people. It's not a private one.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good point.
Oh. Okay, I see your plan.
So, and then you could be gentlemanly and fix her plate or something. I don't know. Magic Kingdom's a hard one. If you were trying to fix a plate of dessert for her and have I don't know. It depends on how he's wanting to propose.
It's pretty
Here's
romantic.
your dessert. Want to get hitched?
You could always have somebody bring in a dozen roses. That's been done before, but that was a different part. Now, Epcot's a little easier to do something more private and more special just because there's a special event team. So
The Animal Kingdom is because there are fewer people there. It's more private. You could,
There
so yeah, what could you do in Epcot? Oh, wait, wait, Wishes. Is your favorite. We have to do Wishes.
Wishes, we have to stick with Wishes. So
So you got to be in the Magic Kingdom to do it. Oh, good question. Where would you go? You want to have a relatively private, good view of it. What about the view on the side of the castle? Is that better than in front? Like I was, for example, in Disneyland, I was between the castle and the Matterhorn, and the fireworks were essentially perpendicular to me. So instead of, they're parallel. So rather than being straight on, I was off to the side. But it was really a fascinating sort of look at them. I wonder if there's a sort of a secluded spot, like maybe by the Fantasyland side of Cosmic Rays, that might be interesting and less crowded, and you could go there.
It could be. I mean, if you're looking for
a Wishes cruise wouldn't be bad. I mean, if they,
God! What if she says no? Then you're stuck on a boat with her. No.
I guess you could dunk her. I'm not sure.
No. Apparently there are laws.
Either you marry me or you swim.
Don't you guys know the answer before you ask the question most of the time anyway?
Not Newell.
Not the first 7 times. I mean, yeah, totally.
Never ask unless you know the answer is going to be
Never
yes.
ask a question to which you don't know the answer. Wait, that was law school.
That's right, law school. That was the reform school.
See, the only problem, there's no alcohol in the Magic Kingdom. So you can't increase your odds of saying yes by...
I think just plan ahead. Think of some
This
spots
totally
that are gonna
explains
be
so many
something.
things about my marriage.
The real question
Sorry,
here. The real question here is: are we going to get invites to this wedding?
Oh my God! Wait, hold on. Have you ever got an invite from anything that's ever happened on the show, Newell?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so me neither. So the total sum of invitations that we've got from wedding-related discussions on the show, 0.
I can hope, though.
No, actually,
That's
Scopa
true.
has gotten one.
What? Gotten what?
A wedding invitation. You had to turn it down, though.
I haven't turned. Well, she didn't ask me to marry her.
Okay.
She-
Oh my God!
Wedding party invitation.
She invited me, and I have her name somewhere. She invited me to attend her wedding in March, I believe, next year, and I'm still contemplating going down. And if she's getting married at the wedding thing down there.
Yes.
The wedding thing.
The wedding chapel.
You guys are
The
so
wedding-
romantic. The wedding.
The wedding thing, whatever.
Hey, I wrote the book on romance, baby.
Anyway, moving on to the next question.
I wrote
It's
the pamphlet.
Jay from Snow Camp, North Carolina.
Jay!
Hey, baby. Go
Hey, where Snow
Gamecocks.
Camp is.
My family,
Fox,
and I,
that's South Carolina. Dear God.
my family and I live about 30 minutes from Greensboro towards Raleigh. I've been enjoying the show since late March. I wished I had known about it before we went on a family vacation to Walt Disney World last February. We'd have saved a good bit of money on various things we had done differently. I know we could have saved at least $800 on our stay at Wilderness Lodge. Oh well, at least I'm enjoying your show now. Thank you for all the hard work you put into it. Seriously, thank you.
Hoorah.
I
Cool, thanks,
emailed
Jack.
you a few weeks ago with a question about the best ways to travel to each park in order to arrive at the turnstiles, not just the parking lot, 30 minutes before park opening. I found that knowing and preparing for the details for travel in Walt Disney World can make all the difference in seeing more, being more in control, and being more relaxed on the trip. As for my original question, I'm curious about things like that I'd read in the unofficial guide, where Len warns that driving to the Animal Kingdom is not the best option for the park because the toll booths don't open until 15 minutes before the park opening.
Yeah, 15,
So
20
a
minutes
bus is the
somewhere.
best option?
Yeah, amazingly so. Yeah. The thing is not that it's not that the parking lot opens 15 minutes in advance every day, but it does it often enough that you can't predict it, and so there's no point in not taking the bus, right? So there's if you take a bus, you've essentially locked in your savings. If you take the car, you're running a risk. Why would you take a risk when you don't have to? So take the bus. That's what it comes down to.
Next email is from Stephen Walker of Snohomish, Washington. Writes, howdy y'all. I've heard mention of the concierge...
Snoqualmish? Is there a Q in there, Matt?
No, it's Snohomish. Snohomish.
Okay, sorry.
Right, so howdy y'all. I have heard mention of the concierge service at the various deluxe resorts, but what does concierge service provide, and is it worth the additional cost?
Foot rubs. No, just kidding. It generally provides hot food at breakfast, warm food at breakfast, pastries, rolls, stuff like that, cereals, bagels, and then some sort of at the better concierges, hot food at dinner, and usually light snacks for lunch and throughout the day, plus alcohol. Right? Am I missing anything? Chocolate.
No, you got that right. I mean, basically, it's a huge perk. I mean, there's no way you're gonna some people think you can get meals at. I mean, you can in some cases like the Polynesian, there are meals at dinner time. But I mean, it's not like it's a real restaurant or anything like that. I mean, it's a perk. You're spending a lot more for it, and that's what it is. It's like treating yourself. You go and you upgrade to first class. You still get to the plane still brings you to the same place, but you'll enjoy it a whole lot more. Obviously, same thing with concierge service. It's a nice
That's actually
perk.
that's a great analogy, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, on a dollar basis, it's probably not. It probably doesn't work out. But like we've used it whenever we've taken Hannah. Like when we took Hannah when she was young, because when we stayed at the Polynesian, we stayed concierge for a couple of reasons. One is I didn't want a snack to be more than 15 minutes away, or 5 minutes away. I mean, and then number two, the concierge will do meal planning for you and stuff like that, and generally that just makes your stay just slightly more smooth.
Yep.
So if you've got the money, if money isn't the object, or if it's like one of your first trips and you've got small children, you definitely want as many allies there as you can get.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say that the Polynesian is by far the best option there. And that's one I would definitely almost say that if you've got the money, go for it. The others, it's kind of hit or miss depending on the resort. But the Polynesian has its own kitchen, which is what really makes it really nice. And it really stands out among the concierge services over there.
Yeah, that and the Animal Kingdom Lodge. But I mean, in terms of proximity to the parks, it's definitely got to be the Poly.
Yep. Yep.
We've actually done a few episodes on concierge. If you go to episode 141, we did it. It's called the Concierge at the Polynesian Resort, where we talked actually to one of the managers at the concierge resort over there. So check that one out. Next email is from Mike O'Brien of St. Charles, Illinois. Writes, hi all. First off, I love your show. It makes me realize that I'm not alone with my fascination with Walt Disney World. I found my people. My wife and I visit our homeland at least once a year, whether we intend to or not. It is and always will be our favorite place to vacation for many, many reasons. First and importantly, it's the Disney magic. Not everyone feels it, but it's there for us. Next, we know that this vacation will be a guaranteed good time for us and our two children. Finally, and most importantly, it's a place we know so well that we rarely have to pre-plan anymore. I challenge anyone to find a location in the parks where I don't know the nearest bathroom. This last item is going to get where we get to my question. Even though there's always a new attraction to see and always something to stumble upon, some hidden treasure that makes us say, wow, has that always been there? We always have the feeling that we've, quote, done everything. I'm certain you guys can help. What are a few inexpensive magical experiences to put on our list of things to do during our next trip this spring? We were able to help Mickey open the Magic Kingdom last year and feel that there's no way we can top that, but I'm optimistic the next experience is there waiting for me. Thanks for the feedback, and don't worry if you answer this too late. Odds are we'll be heading down again soon.
So in the parks or out of the parks? Inexpensive. There's always free stuff to do in the resorts, right?
Yeah, lots of stuff in the resorts. I mean, we've talked about that at length, really, about all the different things you can do at the resorts. Especially the deluxe resorts tend to have a lot more activity, so definitely check those things out. We actually did a an episode about this. I remember this was I think this is one me, you, and I, Scopa, we did. Track it. Oh, here it is. Episode 557, Favorite Hidden Attractions. So definitely check out that episode. That's where we talk about various things that are both in the park and outside the park that are kind of kind of cool to do that you might have overlooked, Mike. So hopefully that'll work out for you.
Yeah, the other thing is, too, I mean, any of the deluxe resorts generally have grounds that are interesting enough by themselves to walk, especially the Magic Kingdom resorts. They've been around forever.
Right.
Going through the lobbies of the resorts, there's a decent walk around the Epcot resort loop. Always fun and inexpensive.
Absolutely. Next email is from Melissa, who writes, I recently stumbled upon your podcast when looking for Disney planning information and would like to ask 2 questions. My fiance Brandon and I are planning our Disney honeymoon for early October, and our first question is, out of 3 resorts, Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach, and Port Orleans Riverside, which resort is the best option? She doesn't say. That's what I was about to say. Mike, you want to quickly go over this?
I was going to say that I would say Riverside would be the most romantic. Coronado Springs would probably be the least romantic. And I think that the Caribbean may be the noisiest of the 3, maybe.
You think?
But with the largest rooms, though, right?
Of the moderates.
Of the moderates. Right?
320-something square feet, something like that.
Yeah. They could get the pirate room if they go to Caribbean Beach.
Oh, yes. I'm sure that's...
That's exactly what you want for your honeymoon.
That's a honeymoon.
Johnny Depp.
Maybe be the pirate, yeah.
Alyssa also asked question number 2. Is if we could do one special thing on our honeymoon trip, what would you recommend? I love your show and look forward to each new episode.
We're not that kind of podcast.
Inviting us to the wedding.
Since it's a theme on this listener.
Who always beats me to the punch. Jeez.
One special thing that you could do. You definitely want to see all the fireworks in all the parks.
Yeah, I would say maybe treat yourself to like Illuminations cruise. I mean, take the Breathless.
Yeah.
Go say hi to Scapetta.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. This is me hitting myself in the head. I hate that idea. I would say have
Scapetta wants to get his hands on you, Alan.
So do one of 2 things. Either have dinner somewhere where you've always wanted to have dinner, or spend one night in a nice deluxe resort.
Yeah, maybe upgrade for that like last night or 2. Like say like a Polynesian or something like that.
What about Victoria and Albert's? Do we dare say that?
I would rather spend the money on the upgrade at the resort personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you're going to definitely enjoy that.
That's true.
Next email is from Enrique of Miami, Florida. Go Dolphins. He writes, hello, Len, Matt, Scopa, and Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens. First, I want to congratulate Len on doing the full marathon. I love the podcast when you described what you felt like during the race. And you are absolutely right about, quote, if Scopa can finish the race with a broken foot, then you can finish the race with some more water. That was hilarious.
You don't know how many times I've rationalized that if Scopa can do X, I can do Y. It's like everyone has their own little motivational thing. Mine's some 60-year-old guy in New Hampshire, whatever.
60.
I think you left off
50,
0,
55. What?
Something like that.
How old are you?
600.
I mean in human years.
Oh.
I'll be 59 a week from Sunday.
All right. So.
Enrique writes, my question is, how does Disney calculate the time at these races? I'll be in the last, I'm registered for the 2010 half marathon. I'll be in the last corral, and I should finish the race in approximately 3 hours. Do they get the difference from your start time and finish time?
So they do both. They'll do a couple of things. They'll do the gun start time, and then they'll give you your chip start time too. So when the chip in your shoe passes over the start line is when your personal clock begins. They grade the people who win the race by the gun start time, which is slightly different. But they'll give you your own personal time for however long it takes you to cover 13.1 miles.
Next email is from Nicole Talley of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Writes, hello, Matt, Mike, and Len, and any unexpected guests. That's you, Annette.
Woohoo! Unexpected.
I'm heading to the world very soon, and I have a few questions about completing my planning. I know that they've changed the Fantasmic schedule, boo. I believe the week that I'm going there, Fantasmic is going to be shown 3 nights. I was planning on attending the 8:30 show on one of the days that I'll be there. That being said, I assume the crowd is rather large on days or nights, whatever it may be, that Fantasmic is actually being shown. This brings me to my question. What time should I get in line, and what should I expect?
About 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Yeah, you're guaranteed to be first.
Yeah.
I would probably give yourself at least 45 minutes, probably closer to about 60, just to be certain. They're going to open the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater like 90 minutes beforehand. But I would give yourself probably in the ballpark of 45 to 60 minutes. Go grab seats. Once you have someone in your party holding seats, then someone else can go grab food for everyone else, and relax, enjoy your time off over there.
Those big city lights.
And of course,
high rolling hills. Sorry, I was singing some Bob Seger. You mentioned Hollywood Hills. Sorry, I had to do it. Yeah. Apparently that song was written about Cheryl Tiegs. That's the rumor anyway. I could be totally wrong about that. I'm sorry, go on with your question.
Anyway, good email for Len here since he loves to talk. We are actually planning on driving down to the World and we want to have a clean hotel room with a desirable location close to Walt Disney World for a cheap price. Any ideas?
Super 8 on 192. Remember we had Jen on in December. She stayed there, and I think she said that was the best of the bunch. That was and apparently there's free Wi-Fi around in the area. So there's a Super 8 it's the closest Super 8 to the parks on 192 in Kissimmee. And if I understand correctly, it's less than $50 a night most days of the year.
Cool.
It's right next to a Harley-Davidson dealership and across the parking lot from a Denny's. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with a Grand Slam breakfast.
Next email is from Susan from New Jersey, who writes, "Hi guys, and the fabulous Annette. Thank you for the joy and happiness you bring to my life. After many years of blissful off-season touring, my children have now reached the age wherein the Scopa commandment has taken effect. Thou shalt not take the children out of school to go to Walt Disney World. We now find ourselves planning to go to the World the last week of June. Ugh. We plan to follow the unofficial Bible's touring plan. I would like to stock up on fast passes for use when we return from our afternoon breaks. Here's my question. In what order should I gather fast passes? Which attractions will have the quickest return time printed on the fast passes, enabling me to secure another fast pass?"
It's a great question. So obviously the more popular the attraction and the lower the capacity, the farther out the return times are going to be. So you probably want to start with the less popular attraction since the return times are going to be closer, and then work your way up to the more popular attractions. There's a flaw in that strategy, though, right?
Yeah, there's two attractions that stand out in that flaw. One is Toy Story Midway Mania, and one is Soarin'. In terms of that, their fast passes tend to go a lot faster throughout the day than other attractions.
So that's the thing. So maybe it's start off slow, grab the Soarin' thing, and then just wait for the secondary attraction.
Yeah, that may be. I think that's.
Of course, if you start grabbing fast passes right at 9 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. Your first one will be available again like at 9:45 or 10 o'clock. Then at 10 o'clock, your next one will be available, hopefully, depending on what you get, between 10:45 and 11:30. Then maybe right before you leave for your break, you grab I don't know, I wouldn't wait past 11:30 to get a Soarin' or a Toy Story Mania one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, that's right. So, yeah, you pretty much have to get those things as your third item.
Next email is from Sil Spagnuolo of Westchester County, New York. I call that Newell Country. Writes, "Hey, Matt, Mike, and Len, thanks for a great show. Wanted to let you know that I am an unofficial guide reader for several years and have often wondered about the crowd calendar on touringplans.com. While we have kids, we try to travel to the World on semi-off seasons, like late August, early September, free dining, or during Jersey Week. So we're used to some crowds, but not mob scenes. When Disney offered the buy 4 get 7 with a $200 gift card, we decided to book President's Week, and we stayed at Scopa Towers. I was relieved when the crowd calendar on touringplans.com showed 5s, 6s, and 7s. But when we went down there, we came back and we checked, it was showing 7s, 8s, and 9s. And what happened over there?"
So there are a couple of things. I mean, this year's a little bit tricky because of the recession, and the effect of the buy 4 get 7. Both of those things were things that we hadn't seen before in our modeling, so it was tough to figure out what the actual crowds were. So we've been adjusting our calendar closer to the actual day more this year than we did in years past, but I think that's understandable, right? I mean, we're just dealing with a set of things that we haven't dealt with before, so that's really why. I think Fred actually has done a great job of explaining this in the blog for the crowd calendar about why these things change and why they go up and why they go down. So Fred posts every time he does an update as to what's driving the update. I would say you go ahead and look at that.
You really should mention the blog more often, Len. It's not like we've gotten mentioned at all.
I know. I just have to do it. Me, I'm just self-promotion. I'm just so modest.
Next email is from Sue, who writes, "Greetings from the chilly Northeast. Regarding episode 5, well, it's probably chilly when she wrote that. Regarding
Yes.
episode 516, there was a discussion about the Imagination Pavilion and why it was changed. I'm pretty sure I heard Jim Hill once say that the Kodak folks were the ones that wanted the change. They were the sponsors and Disney complied. So that's why Dreamfinder and Figment disappeared.
You know what would be funny is I'd love to hear the corporate debate that rages over something like Dreamfinder within Kodak. Like what does that meeting sound like? You know? He's got too much facial hair.
Yeah, it's probably like, well, Bob, I think we should get rid of the Dreamfinder. Well, Mark, you were right. You passed on that whole Polaroid thing, and look where we are now.
Yeah. Aren't you the guy who said digital would never go anywhere? Exactly. Who wants to look at pictures on a computer? Go ahead.
Next email is from Sarah Wilmot, who writes, Hi, guys. I'm a new listener from the United Kingdom. I found you by mistake whilst doing some online research ahead of my trip later this year. Glad to see I'm not the only one who... What's that?
Everybody's stumbling across us or mistakenly find us.
Oops, backed up into us.
Oh, whoops.
I rear-ended my car and ran into Len.
I was looking for another show, and that was my mistake.
I was, and then, I couldn't figure out how to get it off my iPod.
Glad to see I'm not the only one who is into planning for the whole Disney experience. The podcast and my unofficial guide are my great escapes from my hectic life.
It's like a love fest here this week. I love it.
Anyway, here's the reason for my email. I have a trip planned for the 28th of December 2009 to January 11th, 2010, which will be my first visit to Walt Disney World since I honeymooned there in 1998 pre-Animal Kingdom. Traveling with 2 small children, plus all the new attractions and extra park, means that there are a few more things to plan this time. I have a couple questions. One, which park is best to see on New Year's on?
I think we've always said Epcot.
Yeah, I think that's a suggestion. Mm-hmm. My son will turn 10 during our trip on January 2nd, and I planned to take him to Fantasmic to celebrate, but I see it's been reduced to only 2 shows a week. My son's birthday will be a Saturday, which wouldn't now be a show day. Are there any plans to have extra shows during peak season?
So, Matt, does the studios actually increase the number of Fantasmics when it's more crowded?
You would think they would do that, but evidently July, one of the busiest times of the year, only warrants 3 times a week. It's weird because they had actually increased it, like during spring break, like around Easter, they had gone back to almost a show. There was 1 or 2 weeks where they actually had 1 show every day.
Yep.
But, and then that, I would have thought, okay, well then for sure, come summertime, we're going to be back to pretty much the same thing. But month of July, it's 3 times a week, man.
You know what's funny to me is that you look at the Tomorrowland Noodle Station in the Magic Kingdom, which has been closed seasonally. It's open during summer, but is Fantasmic? No.
And I implore all of our listeners to go complain to Disney because it's just making it so much more inconvenient for all of you when you're on your trips there. Now you got to schedule it, and the day you're going to go is going to be way more crowded. So
it is. I mean, it's true. Not only that, but I mean, it's harder to get dining reservations, right?
Yep.
Oh, definitely. And that's what I was going to jump in there, Lynn, because we've actually seen that during free dining, a lot of people are taking advantage of the Fantasmic. That jumped up and has become just as popular as Cindy in Canada.
Can't believe it.
7:15, it was gone on a couple of days. So.
Yeah, I mean, they responded to Stitch in less than 2 months. They yanked the show, which is unprecedented. But people complain about Fantasmic, and we don't do anything about that.
I said on the blog that I've had yogurt in my refrigerator longer than Stitch show was around.
Okay, what else do you suggest that we do instead during the evening? We'll do Chef Mickey's for breakfast. My other son will be nearly 6, in case that affects your suggestions.
Hanging out in the pool is always good. Hopefully the weather's mild in December in Florida.
Check out the resort. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the show. I mean, check out those resorts. Head over to Fort Wilderness. Go do archery. Go.
Oh yeah. Fun.
Do a ride over there on the horse wagons that they have over there. Have a meal at Trails. One of our favorite restaurants. Tick Hoop-de-Doo. That's a great show over there. Even Newell likes Hoop-de-Doo. So come on, that tells you something.
Sounds like we're sending everybody over to Fort Wilderness, but don't forget about the campfire and the movie over there.
Yeah.
That could be a real hoop.
Do they do that in December? I thought it was seasonal.
No,
okay.
They do that.
I'm totally missing out on that.
Next email's from Ann from Atlanta, who writes, "Go New York Mets." That's weird. Oh,
yeah.
Someone has to say it.
Not this year. Not this year.
So I don't know. Remember, Newell was the one who told me the Mets, Jets, Nets thing. I didn't. I mean, really, I was like 40 and didn't realize that was sort of a. Anyway.
I'm actively looking for a new team to root for. I already posted that on Facebook. And no Medina. I don't want to root for the Marlins.
Oh.
A new baseball team?
Yes.
Yeah, and no Sox either. No Red Sox.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
What could possibly
Brooklyn
go wrong?
Dodgers.
How about the Washington Senators?
Right now they're a better team than what I'm rooting for.
Philadelphia Athletics.
Exactly. Canton Bulldogs. Wait, wrong sport.
And writes, "I'm currently planning to go to Disney World during September. I've been 27 or so times, but never for more than a week. This trip, I'm planning on going 2 to 2.5 weeks. 1 week of the trip will be with my fiance. A week of it will be a solo trip, but a week with my dad may get added on. I'll be staying at Scopa Towers, my home away from home. I've spent close to 100 nights there in the past 3 years. I'll be on the dining plan anytime I'm with someone else, but I'm thinking of doing the dining plan during my solo part as well. Do people get looked at oddly, or is it hard to get a reservation for one? And are there any great places I shouldn't miss as a solo eater or traveler?
I wouldn't worry about it at all.
No, not at all. I mean, there are a couple of restaurants. We've talked about this in the past. I wish I had an episode that I could remember, but there are restaurants that have bars attached to them where you can sit at the bar and order off the main menu, like 50's Primetime Cafe comes to mind. You can go to the Tune-In Lounge, which is right next to it, and order off the same menu, so it's a little, if you're worried about that, that won't be an issue.
That's actually a great idea.
There's others. Yakinetti has that. Kona Cafe has a. There's others, I'm sure. That's one option for you. The other option is, even if you're going there by yourself at a table, it's Disney World. You really have to, I think, those kinds of judgments or whatever, I really don't think apply quite as much as you may have in a regular restaurant down the street. You'll never see these people again. And I've eaten by myself at restaurants, I've never felt like that.
I think it's absolutely fine.
Cool. Next email's from Kayla Zeiss of North Las Vegas, Nevada. So, hi, guys. My mom had planned a last-minute trip to the world soon, and we're really excited about it. Both my mom and my sister suffer from epilepsy, and I know that one of you guys does too. Do you have any limitations or suggestions on what attractions you can or cannot go on?
Mr. Newell?
Wow.
I was going to say it might be up to you and your doctor.
Yeah, the one that I tend to avoid is the beginning of Rock and Roller Coaster, because there's a lot of flash when you first pull out of the station area there, the loading area. So I don't really ride that anymore because of that. But that's really the only one I have trouble in. Also in Ellen's Energy Adventure, there's a scene where you're going from one room to another, and there's lots of these flashing strobe yellow lights that tend to bother me. That bothers me too. But those two are the more troubling rides. Yeah, the more severe rides for me. Anyway,
does the Open Mouse book have a section on epilepsy?
I believe it does, Matt.
Okay. So that's also another resource you should probably consider.
Absolutely, definitely
looking at. Cool. Time for our last question of the day, and that means that I will give Mr. Newell 3 questions to choose from, and we'll answer one today, and the other 2 go back into the email queue to be answered later. Are you ready, Mike?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right. Your options are leaving soon and don't have a clue, ketchup, we don't need no stinking ketchup, or this one's for Scopa.
Oh, jeez.
Well, then let's do the leaving soon, because they're probably back already.
Yeah, good point.
Last email today comes from Rita Brock of Cleveland, Tennessee, who writes, P.S. RC Cola rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. That's a reference to the
10th
event.
Yes, there you go. Someone's got to add that as the inside joke on the wiki. Philip, get on that.
Philip?
Rita writes, hello to all. I've been to the world many times. This is our first trip bringing lunch into the parks. Where in the world can we sit down and eat our packed lunches? Thanks for the great shows and wonderful information that you provide in such an entertaining way. By the way, love that Name That Tune show. My husband thought I was crazy because I was standing in the middle of the kitchen laughing hysterically.
we have to do a follow-up on that, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is a great question. I don't know if we've ever had this before. Where can you bring a packed lunch into the parks? This should totally be a show topic.
Animal Kingdom has their locations
the whole
where you
picnic
can
in
go
the park thing.
Yeah, so they already have that kind of mapped out.
In the Magic Kingdom.
Tomorrowland Terrace in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, or even also around the same area, Mike, in the Magic Kingdom, you've got in front of Casey's and in front of the plaza, there are tables you can sit down over there.
It's just hot over there. I like the Tomorrowland idea.
Tomorrowland I think is a better option. I agree.
Now, I've seen a family kind of picnicking down in the garden area there by the castle.
Really?
But let me ask you a question. If I brought a bagged lunch into the park, can I sit at any counter service restaurant table? Is anyone going to really stop me?
No one's going to stop you.
Unless
it's like, at a counter service, no.
Yeah,
at the studios, there are covered tables at there's umbrellas, but that's what I mean by covered. In front of Min and Bill's Dockside Diner, there's a number of them. And that's probably the location. If you want an indoor one, like kind of like Tomorrowland, you go to the Backlot Express. They have a wonderful amount of seating, indoor and outdoors, so you can really get the best of both worlds.
Commissary, I'd go there.
Yeah, they have tables outside too.
Yeah.
It's got air conditioning too. I mean, if you're going during summer, definitely the way to go.
What about Epcot?
Epcot, you can go to the Sunshine Seasons.
Electric Umbrella outside.
Electric Umbrella, yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Electric Umbrella, it's hectic.
Yeah, it's hard finding a seat
It's true.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But any of the
But outside of Electric Umbrella, if it's hot, especially, there's plenty of seats.
You know, the tables across from that African hut in Will Showcase.
there are turning the
there are.
corner, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing that, that's a great idea. You could also do sort of the benches in the UK.
There's also benches in China over there by the water, on the water side of the
Oh
lagoon.
yeah.
China
And
really
America, too. America.
China's
Oh,
really
and also behind Japan, up on top where the water.
Oh yeah. Actually,
Oh yeah, that would be a nice little picnic spot right there.
That's a great spot right there. Yeah.
Let's have a
good
picnic.
idea. Good idea.
Cool. That was
Bring
much
the
better than a
blanket,
question for Scopa. Very good.
I agree.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today is being sponsored
Jerk.
by MEOut and Mousefan Travel. And, unlike me, the travel agents at MEOut and Mousefan Travel are so nice. They would never make fun of Mike Scopa. They love Mike over there. And
Jerk.
They appreciate your business, too, because they're going to be not only working with you, they're going to be your partner on these trips. They're going to help you make your next trip to Walt Disney World extra special and extra easy on you. You don't have to do the hard work. They'll take care of it. So why not give them a try? Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com.
Yeah.
If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Sopa, Mike Cole, and Matt Owens,
Me?
I'm Matt Hotchberg. See you on the next show. Yeah, you.
What did I do to you, Scopa?
No, that was for Matt.
Bring it on.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.